Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Marketplace Cares, a show dedicated to highlighting the extraordinary men and women of Marketplace Sotheby's, International Realty, and all the amazing things that they're doing to help support our community during these uncertain times. We have a fun one today. Today we are talking all about mindset and positivity, and I cannot think of a single better person to have this conversation with than our very own Barry Long. Welcome, Barry. Thanks for being on with us today.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you.
I'm super excited because Barry is not only one of the happiest, most positive people. I mean, you've virtually been put through any of life's challenges that one can go through, and have kept just an extraordinarily positive attitude throughout it all. Barry not only happens to be an extraordinary broker, and you've done some huge things to change people with disabilities and the way that the MLS treats those properties. You've made some huge changes, not only statewide, but nationally. So we're very proud of the work you've done there. But you just happen to generally be one of my favorite people on this earth. And we always laugh together, we cry together, we have amazing times. Generally, it's mostly laughing. But you've become like family, and I love you dearly. So thanks for being on today.
Yeah, you bet.
So you've been doing some really cool videos that you've been putting them up on social, and we're going to talk about your website here in just a bit so that people can find out where to see these videos as well. If you're not friends with Barry, but you should be friends with Barry on social because he's fun. But you've been doing some really cool videos on how to keep a positive mindset and attitude during these times. We just got our orders extended to the end of May. We're at May 6th right now, so probably air next week. But as far as we know, these orders are extended to at least the end of May. I know that can kind of get people down and probably, affect mindset and positivity. So I can't think of a better time. Let's just get right into it. Let's talk, how do you keep a positive mindset and attitude during a time like this?
Yeah, it's not necessarily just during a time like this, it's all the time. I mean, positivity, it sounds so cliche, but positivity is truly a mindset. I mean, and that's something that people don't think about, the fact that positivity is a state of mind, and then actions follow up what you can do to keep that state of mind positive. Everybody has self-talk. Everybody has the voice inside your head. Some voices say different things, and some voices are, well, we don't want to get to that. But everybody's got that voice that's talking to them all the time, and we don't think about the fact that we can control that voice. I crashed my motorcycle back in 1991, and woke up to find out that I was paralyzed, and everything in my whole world seemed negative. I couldn't do this, and I wouldn't be able to do that, and everything from walking, obviously, but then travel and going to the bathroom and sexuality and all these things that I had already been doing, and all of that just got taken away from me in 1 second. So the tendency was to just think about the negative all the time. And I was fortunate that I had people around me that, weren't afraid to laugh, with the adversity, and that made me laugh. And I had nurses, and I had family, and I had my buddies that would come in and tell stories about not the remember the old time, but what are we going to do now? And, it was one of those that I laid in my hospital bed and went, all right, today I'm going to be happy. And then what does that mean? Well, I can say it all day long, but then what are the actions behind making sure that I do stay happy? So again, positivity is a state of mind, and then the actions around that state of mind can help drive you to being positive. So there's, I've just found some different tricks and things that you can do to almost, control your mind. I wish I could say it like Snape does in Harry Potter, but, control your mind. That you can truly control your mind, which will then help you be positive. So
yeah, that's a great point. Do you have kind of a bullet list of tips or tricks that people can do to kind of help coach themselves through that process?
Yeah, there are definitely some things that I do personally. Grateful is one of my favorite words, because people lose sight of the fact that they should be grateful about more things than they think about. And the only time we say bless you to somebody is when they sneeze, but yet, we're thinking about them all the time.
I think it's in
hindsight. I literally get up in the morning, and the first thing I do before I get out of bed is list off 5 things I'm grateful for.
Love it.
I literally, every single morning, I take both feet, I put them on the floor, and what's so funny is that, I look at my wheelchair as a positive, even though so many people see it as a negative, because without the wheelchair, I would stay in bed all day. So I look at that wheelchair and go, hey, you know what, I'm grateful it's there. Not that I have to use it, but that it's there. And then, I go through the list of my immediate family. which is automatically three others, and then the dog, of course. And then, and but then it's not just my family, because they're always there. I'm random. This morning, I woke up and I was grateful because, I knew that I was going to have hot water when I took my shower. And I like that one because some people don't. So thinking about the things that you're grateful for is a really easy way to make yourself happy, which is one of the keys. And I have a grateful journal, and I write it all the time. And my journal, if I go back, I've got 25 pages of things I'm grateful for. I mean, you're on it like 3 different times, because seriously, because it's not just one and done. It's things that happen during the day that make me giggle. And, we've got way too many, funny jokes to go back and forth.
We'd be arrested if people read our text threads.
That literally, I can just open that book up at any given time. And what it does is it makes me smile, and one of my keys to being positive is happiness, because when you're happy, it makes you smile, and you can't smile and frown at the same time. And, and it's a trick. It's tricking your mind into going, that makes me smile, so I am happy, which then helps me deal with the doldrums and the negativity that's also going on at that same time.
I love it.
It doesn't make the negativity go away, but it changes your focus on something that makes you happy, because happiness is positivity, if you want to look at it from that perspective.
I love it. I love the idea of a gratitude journal. That old adage, gratitude is your attitude.
Right.
It sounds trite, but it really is true. And if you come at it with a grateful heart, and it is amazing. It's really funny, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, just even last night, I'll be vulnerable for a minute. Just last night, I'm looking at Ava, my 5-year-old daughter, and she's sleeping. She's so peaceful. And I just had this wash of gratitude flood over me. And, you never know what other people are going through, but you know what you're going through, and you have your perspective. And just looking at, we have a warm roof over our head, and things are uncertain right now, but not even just right now. I'm grateful every day for a lot of things. I have a thankful sign back there, and that's not just, creative decor. That's actually means something to me. But, and it's just so funny. And I admit, I do have a gratitude journal. I haven't written in it lately, but last night I just went straight to my gratitude journal, and I literally took up the entire page and in big letters, just what I'm grateful for. And I felt happy, and it centered me. And if you guys don't have a gratitude journal, I highly, highly recommend. You don't have to do a Dear Diary, kind of situation. It could just be a stream of consciousness or however you want, but starting your day off with a grateful heart and reminding yourself of what you have to be grateful for is an amazing, I think, foundation for that positivity.
Absolutely. And I usually do 3 words or less. And I don't do Dear Diary. Today was a lovely day and I got to do this. I write down, Tracy. And, that's
Could be as simple as that.
Because when I open up that page, right now I could open it up and I could look and see 2 things immediately that just make me smile. And that smiling leads to happiness, which leads to positivity. One of the other things that I found that's a great trick for me is I call them triggers. And lots of other motivational speakers who have talked about this have different names for it, but it's how to control your self-talk. It's how to control that voice inside your head, because we have, some umpteen thousand thoughts during a day. So you can't monitor all of your thoughts. It's just not possible. And some people have a tendency to be more negative, and some people have a tendency to be more positive. So it's obviously more difficult for those who have a tendency to be more negative. And heck, some people like to be more negative. It's just who they are and their personality.
They thrive on it.
Fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just it's the fact of, well, how do you take that self-talk and turn it into something that then becomes that positivity that you're looking for? And I have random triggers. I love to drive. I have an old hot rod, as you well know, and I drive it as much as possible. And when I was really trying to get myself into the positive self-talk, my trigger is stoplights. Every single time I pull up to a stoplight, I would remind myself that, what was I thinking? And I was surprised, being a very positive person, how many times I would do that to realize that my current thought was a negative thought. And whether I was like, well, what am I going to do with this? Or, I can't even think of an example now, but I realized that I actually had more negative thoughts than I had anticipated I would have. And the beauty of that is that when I would trigger my thought, then immediately I knew, I was aware of what I was thinking, and I could change that thought to a positive thought. And it really worked, that over the course of time when I would pull up to a red light and I would think, well, what am I thinking? No, I'm actually thinking positive now. And it started to change my mindset of being aware that I was thinking negatively. And it really, truly did change that I was thinking positive. And between that light and the next light, that whole thought process, that consciousness was all positive, because now I was aware that I had been negative before. So figuring out what triggers are, for a while, I would, every time I would take a deep breath, I would try and use that as a trigger. Because I mean, it was just random for me. So everybody can find something that they do enough. And I don't do it every time I pull up to a stoplight anymore, because I really truly have trained my mindset to be positive. But I still catch myself sometimes. I'll pull up to a stoplight and go, what am I thinking? And I ask it out loud. Yeah.
That's interesting. I've never thought to audit. I mean, sometimes I'll catch myself having a negative thought and I'll try to back myself out of it, but I don't know that I've ever actually like audited myself and thought, what am I thinking right now? So
it goes back to that word of vulnerability you talked about before, because it truly is opening yourself up to your own critique, looking in the mirror and really seeing, well, what is it I'm thinking all the time?
We are our harshest critic.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. There's this, I don't know what his official title is, but he's a neuroscientist, he's a psychologist, might even be a neurosurgeon, I believe, Dr. Daniel Amen. And he's big in the coaching program that I'm in for real estate. And he wrote this children's book, actually. And it's all about, it's Captain Snout, and he's an ant eater. And what ants are, he has an acronym for it. They're automatic negative thoughts. And it's all about these, and it's especially designed for children, but I think it's a great book for adults too, because, we're totally guilty of this. But I'll catch my children doing this sometimes, where they have those, negative thoughts. And it's all about the different ways in which you have to ask yourself just one question. That's your superpower question. Is this true? Are you 100% sure that negative thought is true? And if you can just ask yourself that and really question yourself, it's like, no, chances are it probably isn't. And I always tell my daughter as well, a bad 5 minutes is not a bad day. So it's just trying to reprogram. But if you guys do want a book for yourself or for your children to kind of help with those automatic negative thoughts or ants, I highly recommend that. I read that to her school class the other day.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
I love that, because it really breaks it down. It doesn't have to be so scary. And right now we're in a situation in this world where there's a lot of scary out there. I mean, I am one of the people that everybody's talking about who's high risk. I'm a paraplegic, and my immune system is lower because of me being in a wheelchair. It scares the crap out of me. I've been truly social distancing because I don't want to get this stuff that's going around. It wouldn't be as easy on me as it would everybody else. So I understand the fear, and fear drives negativity no matter what. And one of the things I talked about in my little videos, which I do all the time, is figuring out what you can control. That's one of the things that, in talking to we were just in a meeting, the group of us yesterday, and, at Marketplace, and people were talking about feeling like they're out of control and not knowing how to deal with the anxiety. And I love just being able to grab back control of a situation that doesn't feel like it's in control. And, little things, I love talking about schedule, because you can always control your own schedule. Now, we got into thoughts, because I always say try and control your thoughts, but that's much bigger. But, what can you control? Exercise. One of the women that I love dearly in our meeting yesterday said, I go for walks. I get out of the house and I go for a little walk because I can clear my head. You know what that is? That's taking back control. It's sit down, and people aren't very good at writing down things. They think, oh yeah, I'll do this, and then they don't see it again. But when you write it down and it's in front of you, then it gives you a little bit of ownership, in itself, of saying, hey, I am going to control what today. And by writing things down and actually doing it, then again, once you feel like you've got some things that you can control, then it lessens the impact of those things that you can't control. Because when you start getting control of the activities in your life, then that helps you get control of the thoughts in your head. So they all work together.
I love that. And it's actually, I don't mean to keep talking about myself, but I just find this so relatable. I mean, this is one of the topics that I'm passionate about anyway, but as we're talking and you're saying these things, it's like, you kind of go, oh, how can I relate this to my life? And, it's so interesting during these times. I mean, one of the things that we have been doing is going out and taking daily walks. And, it's a busy time in my business right now, and I'm very grateful for that. So I've missed some days here or there, and man, I'm just so off center if I don't get that daily walk. But it's also put me in touch with nature in a way that, I mean, it's not like I don't appreciate nature, but I'm not one to necessarily go for a hike or a long hike, you know, quick stroll around the neighborhood, that's fine. But we've been kind of exploring, because what else are we going to do outside? You know, we've been exploring new little ravines and streams and little hiking areas in our neighborhood. And man, I am so pumped to go for a hike now. Like, I think I've become a hiker throughout all this. And that's just like a total unexpected plot twist. So I like that, because not only is it something that I can control on a daily basis and it brings me joy and it centers me, but I've actually found possibly a new hobby or passion out of this too.
True.
So,
well, you know, that's perfect lead. You know what, again, I love talking about happiness and what are the things that make you happy? And, you know, and I look at myself and think, what are the things that make me happy? What are the things that if I saw a picture of, I would smile, you know? And actually today, it was 4 years ago today that we got our little Rottweiler puppy. And that picture of Juno. And I mean, she was the cutest damn thing in the whole world.
I remember when you got her, man, she's a cutie.
You know, and most people love, you know, Juno. Zoe doesn't necessarily like her as much, but you know, that's okay. You know,
we'll talk with her later.
But yeah, that's right. But it's looking at the things that make you happy, because when you start to get down and you start to feel the anxiety and the negativity of the things that are going on and the fears that we have around us, I mean, seriously, you just, you know, look down and go, oh yeah, there's a picture of that little puppy, or, you know, the food or the music, or, you know, what is it that makes you happy? Because when you're happy, it's a lot harder to be sad at the same time. So finding those things that really drive happiness within you, and that will change your mindset, and that will change your train of thought, and that will change the negativity that's just around us into positivity in your life.
I love it. I love it. So starting off, we have gratitude. What are you grateful for? What are some of the triggers that you can use as techniques to kind of audit your thoughts? Right. And are they positive thoughts, or can you make them positive? Focusing on what you can control to kind of bring yourself a sense of calm and order in amongst chaos. And then what makes you happy? So focusing on your passions or just the things in your life. I love it. That's an amazing list. Is there anything else you add to that, or is that kind of your fundamentals?
No, that's pretty good. You know, just one last little tidbit of the way that I do things. You know, we're not as a society very good at asking for help. And you know, it's vulnerability. Again, we keep using that word, but it's true. You know, we feel very vulnerable when we ask for help, and the reason why is because society has put this negative connotation on help, as if I have to ask you for help, and that means that I'm weaker and I can't do it myself. And I just see that as so backwards. I think that, and I know that that's just the opposite of the way that it truly is. Because when I ask you for help, I have now gained all of your strength to go along with my strength, and then I can do things that I would never have been able to do by myself. And I've been able to backpack around the world and do things in wheelchairs that people shouldn't have ever done the first time.
You've like bungee jumped and done some really crazy nutty stuff.
And not one of those things did I do without asking somebody for help. So, you know, with all these other things that we're talking about, you know, and a lot of them are internal, but yet when it comes right down to it, we can't do this alone. We're not supposed to do this alone. We're social creatures, you know, as you know, inherently made. So by being able to ask others to help us in these things that we're doing, you know, even if it's just asking somebody to help, you know, manage my thoughts, you know, if I start being negative, then remind me, you know, that asking for help is one of the biggest strengths that we can use that we find as a weakness, which is just not true. So those other, you know, the 4 things that you've talked about, and being grateful and having the triggers, you know, looking at things that make you happy, but and not being afraid to ask others to help us through this, I think is probably the solid, you know, the cement that holds it all together.
I love it. Yep. Vulnerability. That is a key one. And it is that, you know, you mentioned something very important. You know, we all say it, and it's become, you know, kind of the catchphrase in this, but we are in this together. We're all going through this. It's kind of the great equalizer in the sense that this has impacted everybody on the planet. So, you know, we are in this together. You know, I think your videos can be kind of a lifeline for people who, you know, are struggling. I think about people who live alone, who are single or don't have family near them and are going through this. And I think that's especially important, to reach out for help and ask for help. And
Right.
even just, hey, can we have a Zoom call? I'm lonely, I just
Mhm.
want to laugh or something. So super important there, but we are in this together. Where can people watch these videos? I believe you have a website and you're
Yeah.
creating a new page for this.
Yeah, I'm throwing them up on my, I'm throwing them up. I'm putting them up on my Very Long Homes site. And then I've got a new page that's called hashtag In This Together,
Okay.
because we are, so that's where I'm going to put these videos up. And then just some other tidbits of fun things that I've found that, people can wander through and, and see if it can help them put a smile on their face.
But whatever you do, don't post pictures of our text thread.
I thought we had a sworn to secrecy on that one.
Neither one of us can ever run for political office. I'm
That's
pretty sure
exactly
we've
right. And
nailed
you're
that
welcome.
coffin shut. Well, so that was verylonghomes.com is the
Yeah.
website. Okay.
Right.
And we'll put that up at the end of this as well so that people can access this. But yeah, In This Together. Gosh, I sure do love you. You are just one of my favorites. And again, I couldn't think of anyone better to talk about mindset and positivity than with you. And you also have, because you do keynote speeches, so
Yes.
you also have another company, Talk and Roll.
Yeah, Talk and Roll Enterprises. Yeah.
Okay,
Had it
great.
since 19, I just realized I started my public speaking company in 1995.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's coming up. Yeah. Wow. Goodness. Time flies.
Yeah.
But no, I sure do appreciate you and your perspective. And I think there's no one better qualified to talk about it than you. And especially during these times when keeping a positive mental attitude can be challenging and difficult.
Mhm.
And again, these are things that aren't just for the COVID realm. I mean, these are things that you can take with you for your life. I would highly recommend, I'm not a Dear Diary person, so if you want to do some gratitude, and you can simply just jot it down in a blank notebook too. I have the 5-minute journal. You can just get on
Oh, yeah.
Amazon. I think it's like $20. Nice book, but it kind of guides you through, what 3 things are you grateful for today? What are some goals you want to accomplish? And at the end, it reviews, what went well today? What are you grateful for? And I find doing the gratitudes in the morning, but also then at the end of the night, reviewing what went well today and kind of focusing on, hey, today, because I think you can start off the day and then you kind of get lost in those,
Right.
some of those negative thoughts. So it kind of just, gives you a chance to look back and go, today was actually a pretty good day. And I did accomplish some of the things I set out to do. So that's a resource for as well. But anyways, Mr. Very Long, appreciate you, sir. Thanks for being on today with us.
You bet. Love you so much. Thanks so much for doing everything that you're doing with this. I appreciate it more than you know.
Well, we just, I've said it time and time again, we work with extraordinary people, and I'm so grateful to call you colleagues, friends, family. You all have become my family, and I just love you dearly. So, yes, thanks again. And again, we're just going to continue to do this as long as we can until I run out of people, or if more people want to send ideas to me, totally open to that. But we're just going to keep this rolling and try to spread some joy and put some smiles on people's faces. So
love it. Keep it up.
All right. Well, until our next episode next week of Marketplace Cares, I am Tracy Fisher. This is Very Long, and we are out.